Tattoos! I have tattoos. I have a lot of tattoos. I'm finally doing a tattoo video. Lots of people have been asking me for years now to do a tattoo, to do a video on my tattoos. I can speak English, I swear. I tweeted earlier today that my sleeve was now all nice and healed. This is my latest addition, the little cloud bits background. I think the sleeve is pretty much done now, the second sleeve, I mean. Just a little like opening here that I think I'll fill up eventually. I'll probably have something peek out of the clouds, but that's it. So it's pretty much finished. Ooh, and I just realized I have an allergic reaction again. I tweeted my picture of my sleeve healing up nicely, and I did a comparison picture. This was my arm July 2020, so almost a year and a half ago. It's a lot more empty than it is now. But I figured, you know what? Let's talk about the tattoo. Let's get some good shots, some good close-up shots, so you can really like take a look at what is on my arms. A lot of people are curious. And I also let people ask questions on Twitter, so that should be interesting to maybe answer a couple of those. I guess I'll start off with the reaction that I have literally on my skin. It's normal. Sometimes you can get a little rash after the tattoo is healing up because your skin can react to the ink, which is perfectly normal. It'll go away again. My skin is just extra sensitive as well. I have dermatographia, which basically means that my skin is very easily upset. Kind of get like a rash really easily if I scratch it. I take allergy meds for it, so my skin is like suppressed basically. But every now and then it still happens. It really differs for every person. Everyone's skin is so different. But for me, I've noticed when I got this light gray done on my underarm, I also got a rash on the light gray bits. So it makes a lot of sense that I noticed a little rash now. It's like right in the elbow. It's a sensitive part, which I think we'll talk about a little bit as well. I guess I should do like a tattoo tour or something first. My right arm was done in Japan, back when I still lived in Japan. I think I got most of it done in 2018, so pretty recently. My very first tattoo is the Shadow of Colossus tattoo right here on the underarm. Just a simple line art piece on my forearm. Turned out very nicely, and I was very nervous. I put a lot of thought in, and I figured that Shadow of Colossus being one of my favorite games, I was like, it's also like pretty subtle. Like if you're a fan of the game, you'll recognize it, but if you don't know the game, it just looks like a cool line artwork. And as soon as I got it, I was like, I need more tattoos. I think honestly, there's two types of people. You either get a tattoo and then you're like, I love this tattoo, I'm done, that's it. Or you're like me, where you get a tattoo and as soon as you get it, you're like, that was amazing, I want another one. And then the party never stops. But yeah, that was this one, and then half a year later I got the Legend of Zelda reference, and then I got this big shoulder piece without this little thingy. My favorite franchise, Fatal Frame. This is a little bit combined piece. It's the Fatal Frame 4 logo because I really like the moon. There's like a subtle moon in the background, if you can see there. I really liked the moon and then the mask, but I had the mask from 4 replaced with the mask from the head priest in Fatal Frame 1. So normally the horns point forward or straight up, but I had them go backwards. A, because I thought it was badass. It looks really cool. But B, also as a small reference to Neo, because in Neo, there's my favorite boss in the first Neo game is that lady who has her horns backwards. So that's why the horns are backwards. After those two pieces were added, I was like, I want a sleeve and I want to get it before I go back to the Netherlands. Because I really liked this artist, this Japanese artist. I went to him and I was like, I want a sleeve. I want these couple elements in it. You can tie it all together and tell me how it works best. It was his idea to do the waves. So to tie it all together with a wave pattern, and he let me pick from a couple leaves. So I picked these. And that's usually how like big pieces come together in Japan. So you kind of like pick a motive, pick a flower theme, and then it kind of like all blends together. We have Resident Evil here, the stars. Stars! It's exactly the stars from the Stars logo. And then I added 2 more masks from Fatal Frame 1. So this is the Angry mask from the first game and the Joy mask. This is a famous mask in No Theater. This is a very obscure one. My Japanese tattoo artist had to do quite some research to find out what this mask that was in the game looks like in theater. Came together beautifully. I also originally have one on my back here. Look at the little kitty cat. It's so cute. I love it. I'm so happy with it. So this is actually a cover-up. You can still kind of make it out if you know what to look for. There is an Overwatch logo in there, but you know, everything that happened with Blizzard, it didn't really feel right to have Overwatch on my arm anymore. I didn't play it anymore, so I had it replaced with a cat, because who doesn't love cats, you know? So that's this sleeve. Oh, this is taking so much longer than I thought. So now the newer sleeve. The newer sleeve is done here in England. The very first tattoos I got on this arm were the Silent Hill tattoo, so just this circle. And I got a Caduceus on my arm here, which was supposed to be a reference to Hunting Ground. It's a PS2 horror game. The end of the game, she gets a Caduceus staff and she uses that to fight. It's like a magical weapon, basically. So I wanted that as a reference, but didn't really think it through. You know, it's the medical symbol. So a lot of people just ask me like, are you a nurse? Or do you know someone in the medical field? And at that point, I was like, people are just like misinterpreting the tattoo, so maybe I'll get it covered up. First, I added the little skeletons though. They're dancing around it. I really like them a lot. That's a different artist. So these two were one artist, the Caduceus and Silent Hill. After I got those two, I became friends with the girl who worked reception of the tattoo place, and we were just hanging out and stuff. I was saying like, oh man, I really want to get more tattoos, and she was just like, how about next week? Because she books in all the artists, so she knew my style from the sleeve that I already had, and she recommended one of their artists in-house who has a very similar Japanese style, so they would like match up nicely. So I was like, cool, awesome, let's do it. And then the next week we added the 3 skeletons, and I thought his work was so great. His name is Craig. I'll link his Instagram. He's so fucking talented. And since then he's done all my other tattoos. And what did I do after that? I'm already not too sure anymore about which order I got them in. But yeah, this is a big piece. Dark Beast Parental from Bloodborne. I think this is one of my favorites. We did this one and then added a little fan here to match the little dancing skeletons, because they have fans. So one like blew up in the wind and got torn in the thunder. So we didn't do any clouds or anything yet. It was just Parental and the lightning, because I knew I wanted to add some more pieces before we would add clouds, because the clouds would go behind everything, and if you fill it up then you might block off other pieces. So I wanted to make sure I had enough pieces in place before I would add the clouds. Then I think we did the fish. We did the catfish. I chose him because he has such a cool face. I love how like derpy and cute it is. So cool. But yeah, this is a cover up for the Caduceus. Like I said, it got misinterpreted a lot, and I was like, you know what, I just want to replace it with something fun. Craig did such a good job. It was so smart. So the left wing of the Caduceus staff is the fin from the fish. So what you see, the fin you see here, is part of the original tattoo. So there's one wing here, and then the other wing is hidden in the face. And then he just made a similar looking fin on the other side. So it looks like they're actually proper fins. But yeah, part of it is the old tattoo. It's really smart. But yeah, this is one of my favorites now. This fish is just so cute and so cool. It was a little bit scary in the beginning because there's so much black, but I think it turned out really, really cool. I'm really happy with it. And then we added the little waves and everything just tied together so nicely. So I was super happy with that. Then I think we added Dexter from Jak and Daxter, who is like back here. Oh, I think I did the Junimo actually before that, because of course, Stardew. Dexter from Jak and Daxter, but Japanified. I added a Metroid because of Metroid Prime. It just came together so nicely. Oh yeah, and I have Ghost of Tsushima. I had the Sakai clan on my wrist. And then after that, we did the most recent edition, which is the clouds. I hope I'm not forgetting anything. It's so many different parts. But yeah, none of these sleeves were planned. I just like did little pieces at a time, and then I was like, let's tie it all together. Oh yeah, I forgot. This little slab is basically Horifumi's signature. So the Japanese artist who did my sleeve, this is his artist name. So Horifumi. So I just thought that it looked cool to add it there. It gives it like that really authentic Japanese look. Maybe I should add Craig's name somewhere on this arm. So much to talk about. Okay, so that was a tour. God, that took so long. Yeah, and I took the picture that I showed you guys. I took this earlier today, and I'm just so happy with how cool it looks when I put them all together like that. I had this like super weird out-of-body experience almost. It didn't feel like that was me in the picture. Like, I think the tattoos look so cool, and I've always wanted tattoos, that it almost doesn't like click that that's me. I don't know, does it make sense? I think it just looks really cool. I'm so happy with how it came together. It's so me. It has my favorite games. It has a ton of like Japanese stuff into it. I don't know. I think it's very, very cool, and I'm very happy with it. So I wanted to give people a chance to ask some questions. I get a lot of the same questions every time I post about tattoos, so I feel like it might be nice to incorporate a couple of them. Were you ever nervous about filling in the background empty space of your initial tattoos for your Parental? Did you trust the tattoo artist to draw it up, or did you commission someone else to do the mock-up image? So lots of trust towards my tattoo artist, Craig. Craig is a gamer himself, and he knows a lot about the FromSoft games. He loves the FromSoft games. So when I just DM'd him and I was like, dude, I want a Dark Beast Parental tattoo because I love him so much. He looks so cool. So he was like, cool. And I told him like, I kind of want him to curl around this tattoo so they came together nicely. So he was just like, I got you. I'll sketch something up and then we're good. And I didn't see his sketch until the day that I got the tattoo. So I just watched him like put his sketch on like the tattoo paper stuff so they can like paste it on as like a draft. Watched him draw it and I was like, this is fucking amazing. I'm so excited. The line work came on first and I was like, this looks so cool. And then the shading came in and I was like, oh my god, it's even cooler than I thought. And then we added a splash of color with the lightning and I was just like, amazing. So that was purely just putting a ton of trust in my tattoo artist. I just trust that he does like the most sensible choice. Like he thinks of like layout and spacing. So talented that anything he sketches is just perfect. So he did the custom Parental. He drew the skeletons himself. He drew the catfish himself, which is an amazing work because it also had to cover up an old tattoo. He did the cover up of the cat as well. The Junimo is actually a sketch of his too, because I just sent him like pixelated screenshots. So that's his work as well. So except for the Metroid, everything is like his design. So he's just really, really good. Would love to see a tattoo vid. Have an incomplete tattoo that's due shading. Hearing your experience would help massively. Shading is easy. Don't worry about it. Of course, it's different for everyone. Some people say shading hurts more than line work, but for me, I'm the opposite. I hate the line work part, and the shading, I'm like, oh, this is easy. It hurts less for me, so shading, easy. Thoughts on Yakuza style irezumi? Irezumi is basically just tattoo in Japanese. Beautiful and fascinating. Exactly that, beautiful and fascinating. Obviously, I don't agree with the Yakuza because they're crime families. So I don't think that that's cool, but I do think that the artists who put the tattoos on them are really talented and it's really beautiful work. If you separate it from who it's for, I do love Japanese style tattoos, obviously. How long have you sat for a tattoo? Love to see people's pain tolerance. Mine was 7 hours. I think Parental took the longest. So this whole sleeve was done so quickly. I think because Horifumi was just so experienced and so talented. We did the line work for the whole sleeve in 4 hours. That was including the shading on this face. And then we did the shading on this face at a later time. And then the shading for the waves was a session on its own. So we did 4-hour sessions at a time. I think Parental took the longest. I remember being in the shop from like 11 to 7. That was not all tattooing though. Like it was the process of the drawing and then placing it on the arm and moving stuff around. I think we had to move his legs a little bit and the tail so that it fit nicer. So I think the longest I've done is probably 5, maybe 6 hours, but I think more like 5. By that time I'm so done. The first hour is fine. Second hour, I'm like, even better, because I'm like, okay, I got this. And then the third hour, I'm like, okay, now I'm getting tired and it hurts. And then after that, I'm just, please stop. I'm so done. It hurts. I can't take it anymore. Of course, I just sit through it. I just try and like surrender to it. Craig said that I'm one of the most still customers. Like, I don't move at all. Because I just know like it's harder for them if I move too much. So I'm just like, I just surrender, try not to tense my muscles, and try and like just keep it still and relaxed. Favorite tattoo that I've gotten is, I think, Parental, because it just turned out so cool. I definitely love like skeleton and skulls as tattoos, I've noticed. So I'm actually thinking that I kind of want like a big piece on my back of Volnir from Dark Souls 3, you know, the big skeleton dude with the crown. I kind of think it would be so cool to have him like on a shoulder blade and just have his hand like that and then just spew like the fog from his mouth. I think that would be a really cool piece. Thought process for getting a tattoo. So I kind of just decide on a whim, honestly, what I want. I think of like, well, I like having game tattoos that are kind of like obscure, like Silent Hill is pretty obvious, but if you haven't played Silent Hill, then you wouldn't recognize it. So I kind of like think about which tattoos I have, which games I've got covered, which games I don't have yet that mean a lot to me, and then try and find something that fits the sleeve. How old I was? 28. I actually kind of covered this already. Oh, were your parents okay with it? No. My dad is kind of like, on it, but my mom was against it. But like I said, I was 28 and I reached that point where I was like, you know, I'm 28. I'm an adult. I can do whatever I want. My mom will get over it. And I just got a tattoo. And then when she saw it, she was like begrudgingly kind of like, yeah, okay, it looks nice. And then after that, each one that I got, my mom was just kind of like, yeah, whatever. We're still on very good terms. She's not a big fan of tattoos, but it's okay. She's okay with it. Would you ever consider getting matching tattoo with someone on the opposite side of the world who you don't know and would never meet? I've always wanted to do this for the story, but I don't know if I'm just crazy. Huh, interesting. I actually have some matching tattoos, and they were not really intended. There's one person in Brighton who I know has this same catfish face. Exactly the same one, but she has it on her leg. And so super coincidentally, as I was getting this tattoo, she came into the shop and showed me her leg tattoo. The odds of that happening is so minuscule. It was so crazy. But she just happened to come into the shop and she was just looking at what everyone was getting. And then she saw this and she was like, no way, I got the same one. It was crazy. But yeah, so I actually have a matching tattoo with someone who I don't even know. Craig and I were looking through Hokusai sketches. Hokusai is a famous Japanese artist from way back. And then I saw the catfish and I saw his face and I was like, that's what I want. It's so goofy, I love it. And she probably did the same thing. They were just looking through sketches and then was like, oh, that's cool. How to find a good tattoo artist. I'm from Mexico, but I'd love to know how to search for one. Every artist will have a portfolio. A good artist will have just a ton of their work on Instagram or on a website, and you can just scroll through it and see if there's anything you like. Search for tattoo artists in your area and then see which one of those have an Instagram or website that has like a ton of their work on it, and then you'll know if they're good or not. Which tattoo or part of your body that has a tattoo hurt the most when you're getting it? Elbows. Elbows hurt so much. I don't know why. Or maybe my armpit was worse. This bit from Dexter got really close to my armpit and it really, really hurt. But this bit where your elbow folds, that's really, really sensitive. This fucking hurts. And then I remember this little mouth hurting so much and it got such a thick scab because it's just pure black. I think for me it's elbows. It's different for everyone, but I think like where your skin kind of like folds. People say that on your bones, like on your ribs and stuff hurts as well, but I don't think it hurt that much. I have a tattoo behind my ear, a little music note. It was okay. It was definitely uncomfortable, but elbows are where I'm like, fuck, that hurt. Did you have any doubts, anxieties before getting tattoos, mainly about what they're gonna look like in X amount of years? If so, what made you decide to get them anyways? I get that question a lot. I think the biggest concern people have when they're thinking about getting a tattoo is like, but what if I'm like 70 or 80? Like, they'll look horrible on my skin. And it's like, people ask me that all the time, and I'm just like, I'm not gonna care. When I'm 70 or 80, I'm so old, I'll probably be wearing sweaters all the time anyway. Like, I really don't care if the tattoos won't look as good by that time. Even if they look shit, I'll be a grandma with 2 full sleeves. That'll look so badass, and I have a story to tell to every kid that comes by. It's not a bad thing. Would you ever get a tattoo of BB or his paw print? That's a really cute idea. I think if BB someday passes away, I mean, it's gonna have to happen at some point in the future. Maybe, hopefully when he's like 15 or 20, but someday BB's gonna pass, and I think then I'll get a BB tattoo. I think I'll just get BB, like the initials BB somewhere. Have you ever let a tattoo artist go wild with their own style interpretation, or are you pretty set with how you want it to be? I started out pretty like I just want exactly this. But then as my trust in the artist grew, I started like giving him more freedom. So the masks are completely like his work. And then with Craig, all trust. Like, I just let him do whatever he wants, and I just show up the day of and I'm like, okay, what did you draw? Okay, looks cool, let's go. Which tattoo is most meaningful or close to your heart? Oh God. I think maybe this one. Because I always, as a teenager, when I was playing Fatal Frame 1, I was always like, I thought the angry mask was like the coolest thing in the game. So from a very young age, I was like, that thing is so badass. Seeing it in like the artist rendition and on my arm permanently is pretty dang special. What part of your body do you think you'll work on next? So, I don't really know. I think I'm gonna take like a long break. I say that, but honestly, I don't know when I'll get the urge to get a new tattoo. Like I said, I kind of want to fill up this little spot here. So I might get something for there for future tattoos. I've been kind of thinking that I might want to bring my sleeves together, go up here and then to my back, and then bring it back together like over there. So kind of like you're almost wearing like one of those sleeve thingies, you know? One of those cardigans that's like just sleeves almost. I haven't really thought about anything in particular. Except like I said, Volnir from Dark Souls 3. I think that would look so cool. Yeah, maybe just like a huge Dark Souls 3 back piece. I don't know. Ooh, you know what would be cool? We could even do like the mist that he's like spewing. We could have that come out and then transform into this wave pattern. So that it like transforms into waves as it goes across my back. And then it all blends together again. Oh, maybe I'll do that. That would be pretty dope. The meaning behind the fish, derpy face. It's based on a legend. So Namazu. The legend is that a gigantic catfish lives beneath the earth or in the mud under Japan and causes the earthquakes. The idea is that a catfish is trapped under Japan and like a dude is like keeping him there, like keeping him trapped. Every now and then like the person guarding him gets like sleepy or just gets distracted or something, and then that's like Namazu's time to wriggle around and that causes an earthquake. That's the legend it's based on. We had a couple of options to cover it up and we needed something dark, something with a lot of black space. I saw that face and I was like, can we do a fish? Because the fish would also match perfectly with the wave pattern, so. Some tips you would recommend to people who are getting their first tattoo. Make sure you get Aftercare cream. So my current favorite is this one, Hustle Butter Deluxe. Like the same day you get the tattoo, you can put this on. It's a very thick like body butter, very oily because it like just helps and it speeds up the healing process. But also just have like a couple long sleeve shirts that you really don't care about that you can sleep in and just wear that are like kind of like a little bit loose as well. Especially the first night. If you want to take off the plastic that's wrapped around your arm, after a couple hours, it's okay to take it off, but you have to be aware that your tattoo can leak that first night. So the ink can bleed throughout the night. So you can either leave the plastic on or what I do is I take it off after a couple hours because I just like it more when my skin can breathe. and then just put on like a ton of the oil, the body butter, and then put on like some kind of long sleeve that you don't mind getting a bit dirty with ink. Some people have just ink sheets, so they have just like old bed sheets that they don't care about, and it doesn't matter if ink gets on it, and they just have that one pair of bed sheets that they just keep for when they get tattoos, and then they sleep in that when they get a tattoo. When you get your tattoo, it kind of like feels like a sunburn at first, like the day after. It's really like you have a really bad sunburn, so your skin is just really sensitive. Please don't use any regular like body lotion or anything, because there's usually some fragrance in it or anything, and your tattoo is basically an open wound, so you need to be very careful with what gets in it and how you treat it. So for me, Household Butter, or I used After Inked for a long time as well. That's a brand. Household Butter is really good helping with the itchiness as well. That sets in after a couple days when it's healing. It gets really itchy. Try not to scratch it too much. The first week, it's like really sensitive for me, and then it kind of like chills out. And I usually just switch to like a regular body lotion that has like zero fragrance, zero like, you know, like for sensitive skins, very like mild, has nothing that can cause irritants in it, to keep my skin nice and hydrated. And it makes your tattoos look really nice too if your skin is nicely hydrated. So take care of your skin. Maybe one last question. Let's see. Did you have anyone in your life that didn't understand why you wanted tattoos or didn't like that you were getting so many? How did you respond to them? Currently working on my half sleeve and I'm getting pushback from some family. So yeah, my mom doesn't really like it, but she also realizes like I'm my own person, I'm an adult, I can do whatever I want. She kinda is just like, oh, another tattoo. But she at the same time is like, she recognizes that there's a lot of talent that goes into it and a lot of artistry. So she always manages to say like, I really like how this is done, or I like the colors or something like that. So she tries. It's really nice. The pushback that I mostly get is people online. Because, of course, there's a ton of people who think my tattoos are awesome, but with anything that you put online, there are always going to be people that don't agree with you. So there's always a couple people that are just like, oh my god, you completely ruined your body with those tattoos. But, like, I don't get tattoos for them. I get tattoos for me, so just get a tattoo for you if you want a tattoo. It's your body. You can do whatever you want with your body. Just, if you think they're cool, get them. I do have to say a little disclaimer with that though. Definitely wait until you're like 18. I know a lot of friends who have a ton of tattoos as well. They're like, oh my god, I'm so glad that I didn't get that one tattoo that I really wanted when I was a teenager. Because as a teenager, you get a lot of like whims. I feel like people should just get whatever they want, even if people in your surroundings are like, oh man, I wish you didn't get a tattoo. Just get it if you want it, but maybe wait a little bit, like see if you still want it after a while. Like I waited until I was 28, which is very late, I feel. But definitely wait a little bit, maybe 20. Maybe just see if after a couple of years you still really want that one tattoo. But if you already have a couple tattoos, then you know what you're doing. My throat's all dry now. Too much talking. Ugh. Gonna leave it here. That was so much tattoo talk, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. If I ever get more tattoos, I'll do another video. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you liked it. Leave a like if you enjoyed it. If you're not subscribed, maybe subscribe. See you guys later. Thanks so much.